What's going on, everybody? This is Marcus. Before I get started, I want to thank you guys so much for your support. It really means a lot to me, and you guys mean so much to me. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for everything, and thank you for your support. For those who are new to my channel, and for those who are seeing it for the first time, make sure you like this video, share this video, subscribe to my channel, and make sure you hit that bell to enable notifications whenever I drop a video. And we're going to always keep this thing rolling. So, X-Men and Cyclops have been confirmed in the MCU. So this has pretty much been talked about at Marvel Studios. Kevin Feige already confirmed it, so I'm very excited to see the X-Men in the MCU. We actually got an ultimate reveal from Season 1's finale of Ms. Marvel, where Bruno was talking to Kamala and telling her that her powers were actually based on a mutation. And then we heard the X-Men animated series theme in the background when the camera zoomed in on Kamala's face. So that was actually a big reveal. And come to think about it, if you think about it like this, you've seen Black Widow, and we actually saw Ursa Major in Black Widow. He actually played an inmate, so we didn't really get a chance to see his powers in particular. But in the comics, he actually joins a faction called the Super Soviets. And his teammates are Vanguard, Darkstar, and the Crimson Dynamo. So basically, he has the powers to transform into a huge bear humanoid. And so we didn't really get a chance to see his mutant powers on display in Black Widow, but the fact that the character is actually there, if you think about it, mutants practically are already revealed in Black Widow, if you think about it like this. So they already exist in the MCU, but come to think of it, I mean, the big reveal is, of course, Kamala being a mutant, and that's what everybody's been talking about. So we'll pretty much just stick to that narrative. You know the character of Ursa Major and know his background, then yeah, he's a mutant too. But the big narrative is Kamala Khan's a mutant instead of an inhuman like in the comics. So chances are we'll definitely see the X-Men. We'll definitely get a chance to see the school for the gifted youngsters and seeing Charles Xavier and the X-Men too. So I'm definitely looking forward to that, and it's going to be pretty awesome. But Warren Thompson from Cosmic Wonder was actually talking about the exact same thing, so we're going to go ahead and listen to him. So without further ado, let's get right into it.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder, where we talk all things Marvel and MCU. I'm your host, Warren Thompson, and today we have some really big news about the X-Men in the MCU, and I am specifically talking about the X-Men team, not individual mutants, but the team. It looks like the mutants and the X-Men could be hitting the MCU a lot sooner than we thought. Yes, Kamala Khan is a mutant in the MCU now, and technically she is the first one, but it looks like mutants may have already been existing in our main MCU universe for a while now. And it looks like technically Wanda could have been the first mutant introduced into the MCU. They hinted at this in WandaVision, which I'll talk about. But right now it looks like the X-Men team could have already been established inside our MCU with some classic X-Men as a part of that team, of course led by Professor Xavier. Now, this is actually coming from an Easter egg that was supposed to be in Ms. Marvel. Some unused concept art from Avengers Con in the first episode of Ms. Marvel has been released, and it gives us a picture of Cyclops, specifically somebody dressed up in cosplay as Cyclops. Now, right away, the reason that this Easter egg is so big is the same reason that they actually didn't show this in the first episode.
We've already gotten it.
The second we would have seen this in the very first episode, we would have gone, that is a person dressed up as Cyclops, which means Cyclops is an actual hero in the MCU, which means mutants actually exist in the MCU. We would have caught that right away. We would have known about the mutants, and we would have known that there is somewhat of an X-Men team in the MCU, and that would have spoiled the big ending where they say that Kamala is a mutant. So of course they left that out because it would have spoiled the ending. However, we now have the concept art that shows somebody dressed up as Cyclops, and it means the exact same thing. If somebody was going to cosplay as Cyclops, that means that Cyclops is real, which means that Kamala Khan is not the first mutant in the MCU. In fact, there could be many more mutants in the MCU that already exist that we simply haven't been introduced to yet. And it looks like the X-Men team could have already been established inside of the MCU as well, based off of the costume that this cosplayer is wearing. If you take a look at the photo, you can clearly see the cosplayer that is dressed up as Cyclops has an X-Men logo on his chest. That would confirm that the X-Men team does exist, because Because if he was just dressing up as Cyclops, who was a lone hero, a mutant who was not a part of an X-Men team, he simply wouldn't have the X-Men logo. But he does have the X-Men logo on his chest, which means the team does exist. And Cyclops is a part of that team, which makes me really excited, because Cyclops is such a classic mutant, a classic X-Men.
Yeah, he's my favorite too, so...
in order to kind of differentiate themselves from Fox's X-Men, weren't going to use any of the iconic X-Men that they used over in the Fox universe. But this would seemingly confirm that Cyclops will be in the MCU, and already does exist in the MCU. And this actually comes at a very interesting time, because we've recently heard some casting news about Cyclops in the MCU. And this is coming directly from the actor Taron Egerton, who everybody wants to play Wolverine.
And the Kingsman service too.
He has actually met with Marvel Studios, and he's recently talked on a talk show about how he was talking with Kevin Feige about playing Cyclops. Check out what he had to say.
I don't mind saying that was a real thing. There was a real conversation, and to be honest, I've never said this actually. To be honest, the reason that conversation never went any further is because I didn't want to play a character for a potential a series of movies where you don't see my eyes. For me, I felt instinctively, creatively, that like the eyes are the windows to the soul. I don't know how I would find that challenging, and I just didn't find it an intriguing prospect. So it's not that they ever offered it to me, but there was a conversation, a real conversation that never went anywhere.
Wow.
I respect. He
Me too.
So right there on the Sirius XM show Sway in the Morning, Taron Egerton says,
Sway's awesome.
That was a real thing.
Sway in the Morning, Sway Universe.
When talking about meeting with Marvel Studios about playing Cyclops. Now they went on to ask him about him playing Wolverine in the MCU, because that's been a lot of talk recently. Fans really want him to play Wolverine, and some reports have said that he is, based on the fact that he had met with Marvel. And he addresses this, but more importantly, he confirms one thing. He says, I made the mistake of saying that I had a general meeting with Marvel around 4 years ago, which is true. Here's why this is important. Now, he says it was a mistake because he said it and everybody thought he was going to be playing Wolverine. However, as he explained, it was about Cyclops. And the important part that is revealed here is that he met with Marvel Studios 4 years ago. That was a very long time ago, and that means Marvel Studios has been planning for the X-Men for a long time now. For at least 4 years, and that was right around the time where the Fox-Disney deal was done. I know there's been a lot of talk recently about some type of a contract between Fox actors or Fox executives and Marvel still not being able to use the X-Men in the MCU. However, we don't really know if that's true or not, so I wouldn't accept it as true yet, especially since Marvel Studios met with Taron Egerton 4 years ago about playing Cyclops. And also, not to mention, the Fantastic Four were a Fox property. They now belong to Disney, and they've already recast Mr. Fantastic with John Krasinski in Multiverse of Madness. So right now I'm actually going to assume that Marvel Studios can use the X-Men whenever they want in the MCU. And this is where things get really exciting concerning the X-Men. Like I mentioned, the Cyclops X-Men Easter egg, this person cosplaying as Cyclops, a member of the X-Men that was never put into the first episode, seemingly confirms that the team does exist, which means the team most likely has a leader. And if it's an X-Men team, then it is most likely led by Professor Xavier. Professor X, which means that Professor Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters probably exists in the MCU. And if you know anything at all about Professor Xavier, you know that Professor X seeks out mutants. And as far as I'm concerned right now, we've been introduced to 2 mutants in the MCU and are about to be introduced to 1 more. The 2, of course, being Kamala Khan and the Scarlet Witch. Now, Marvel Studios didn't straight up come out and confirm that Wanda is a mutant, but they also kind of did. In episode 8 of WandaVision, Agatha Harkness commented how Wanda's exposure to the Mind Stone amplified something that was inside of her already.
She did say
in episode
that.
8, she specifically says, and I quote, "Little orphan Wanda got up close and personal with an Infinity Stone that amplified what otherwise would have died on the vine." End quote. Now, it seems like, based off of what we've seen in Miss Marvel, if you have an X gene in the MCU, it needs to be awoken. Now, I know this sounds very similar to the Inhumans, but Marvel kind of made it clear right now that the Inhumans aren't going to be in the MCU, and if they are, they're not going to be kind of how they originally were. And it could be that Wanda has the X gene, and it was awoken by the Mind Stone. What Agatha Harkness says seemingly hints that Wanda is a mutant. So technically, if this is true, Wanda would be the first mutant in the MCU. Plus, there's still a lot of Wanda's background backstory that we don't really know about. And there have been rumors that we are going to be getting a true solo Scarlet Witch movie. If so, and that is true, I do hope they explore her mutant background. And then of course we have another mutant coming up, which is Neymar. Neymar the Submariner, often given the nickname Marvel's first mutant, is making his debut in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Now he is a mutant in the comics, at least half mutant, half Atlantean, and it looks like that's going to be the same in Black Panther. We have a scene underwater that shows him being born, and if you take a look at the baby has wings on his feet, just like Namor in the comics, which would seemingly confirm that he is indeed a mutant. Also note that Namor does not have blue skin in the trailer, while all of the other Atlanteans do. This is also because he is half Atlantean, not full. So hopefully Marvel Studios sticks true to Namor's backstory, and they keep him a mutant, especially since they introduced Kamala Khan as one. Now, like I mentioned, Professor X likes to go look for mutants. And since it looks like the X-Men team exists in the MCU now, I would not be surprised if Professor X goes looking for Kamala Khan, then shortly after Namor, if he hasn't already actually tried to get Namor already. And I also believe that since we got Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and we saw the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, and other characters, Doctor Strange can only go so long until he actually searches for those people in his own universe. If it were me, and I ran into this extremely powerful team, although it doesn't really seem like that based on their fight with Wanda, but they are a truly powerful team. If I ran into this team in another universe and they were the main superhero team, I would look for those people in my own universe. So I'm thinking it's only a matter of time until we actually see Doctor Strange go seek out these people. Perhaps that's how some of these mutants and other characters could be introduced into the MCU. Since this concept art seems to make it pretty clear that an X-Men team already does exist, which is huge news. And since D23 is right around the corner, about a month away, let's hope that one of those Phase 6 slots is for the mutants. Maybe it's an X-Men movie, maybe it's about mutants before they join the X-Men, but let's hope it's about mutants in some way, shape, or form. That way they can all be a part of Secret Wars. But mutants are now officially in the MCU, and things are really, really exciting. Let me know how excited you are about the mutants in the MCU in the comments down below. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you want to stay up to date on all things MCU. For live updates, you can follow me on Instagram.
And that's the thing too, because like seeing the background of Cyclops, or the person who was cosplaying him at Avengers Con, I would have caught right off the bat, like, hey, that's actually Cyclops. Someone cosplaying as Cyclops in the background for Miss Marvel. So if I actually did see that the first time, I definitely would have called out on that before. So, but if you think about it like that, if they actually did show the reveal, and I've seen all of the Easter eggs in Avengers Con too, but the one thing that I did not see was someone cosplaying as Cyclops when he was taking a selfie with one of the teachers in Avengers Con. So if I saw that, I would have called that right off the bat. And so they definitely kept that reveal hidden, because it would definitely give an assumption and an answer that the Avengers, well, of course, Avengers Con was there, but it would give an assumption that the X-Men actually does exist in the MCU. So that's pretty cool. They actually did kept that hidden. Otherwise, I would have caught it, and everyone else would have recognized Cyclops' outfit as well. So it would definitely been pretty cool. But also, like I just said earlier, having Kamala teaming up with the X-Men would definitely be icing on the cake, and I believe that will definitely happen in the future as well. And like I said, we're not going to know the other slots. That's not going to be revealed until Disney Expo or D23, so we'll definitely know what other movies are definitely going to be a part of Phase 5 and Phase 6. So we do know that Fantastic Four is going to be a part of Phase 6. So the X-Men might jump into that perhaps. There's probably going to be a crossover as well with X-Men and Fantastic Four. So I know they're definitely going to take a part, especially in Secret Wars as well. But I have a feeling that the X-Men is definitely going to fit in with that slide, with the empty slides that will take place for sure. So it's going to be awesome, but definitely can't wait. It's going to be fantastic. Looking forward to seeing the X-Men in the MCU. They already exist, so but we definitely get a chance to see the full-fledged team. Cannot wait. It's going to be awesome. I believe we'll definitely have like a really incredible moment seeing like a full-fledged shot of the school of the gifted youngsters and the X-Men team and Charles Xavier standing right there. It's going to be awesome. Cannot wait. Looking forward to it. What do you guys think? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'm looking forward to it. Hope you guys are too. In the meantime, I love you guys so much. Thank you for your support. Thank you for everything. You guys keep being good to each other. I love you all. I'll catch y'all in the next one.